Welcome to our deep dive into chemical thermodynamics for GME, Class 11 Chemistry. Today, we are unraveling the fascinating concept of enthalpy change. Have you ever wondered why some reactions make things hot, while others make them cold? Enthalpy holds the key. We'll start with the basics, then gradually build up to advanced concepts, equipping you with the knowledge to ace your exams and understand the energy transformations all around us. Let's begin this exciting journey. Let's kick things off with the fundamentals. What exactly is enthalpy, and how do we measure its changes in everyday chemical reactions? Enthalpy, symbolized as H, is essentially the total heat content of a system when it's kept at a constant pressure. Imagine it as all the energy stored within a substance, encompassing its internal energy plus the energy associated with its pressure and volume. It's a state function, meaning its value depends only on the current state of the system, not how it got there. While we can't measure the absolute value of H, we can precisely determine its change, delta H. This change is what tells us whether heat is being absorbed or released during a process, and its units are typically given in joules or kilojoules. Enthalpy change, or delta H, is simply the heat absorbed or released during a chemical reaction or physical transformation at constant pressure. It's calculated by subtracting the total enthalpy of the reactants from that of the products. When delta H is negative, it signifies an exothermic reaction, meaning heat is released to the surroundings, making them warmer. Think of burning wood. Conversely, a positive delta H indicates an endothermic reaction, where heat is absorbed from the surroundings, making them feel cooler, like an instant cold pack. Understanding these signs is crucial for predicting reaction behavior. Now it's your turn to apply what you've learned. Here are 3 practice questions to test your understanding of basic enthalpy concepts. Take a moment to read them carefully, consider the definitions of exothermic and endothermic reactions, and think about how enthalpy changes are calculated. Pause the video if you need more time to work through them. Good luck! Ready to dive a bit deeper? In the medium level, we'll explore the relationship between enthalpy and internal energy, and introduce standard conditions for measuring enthalpy changes. The first law of thermodynamics tells us that internal energy change is heat plus work. At constant pressure, the heat exchanged is our enthalpy change, delta H. The work done by a system under constant pressure is typically expansion work, represented as minus P delta V. Combining these, we get the fundamental relationship, delta H equals delta U plus P delta V. For reactions involving gases, we can substitute P delta V with delta N underscore G RT, where delta N underscore G is the change in moles of gas. This equation is vital for converting between internal energy and enthalpy changes depending on the conditions. To compare thermodynamic data consistently, we use standard conditions. This typically means 25 degrees Celsius and 1 bar pressure for substances in their most stable forms. The standard enthalpy of formation, denoted as delta H underscore F degree, is the enthalpy change when 1 mole of a compound forms from its elements in their standard states. Importantly, the delta H underscore F degree for an element in its most stable form, like oxygen gas or graphite, is defined as 0. Similarly, the standard enthalpy of combustion, delta H underscore C degree, is the heat released when 1 mole of a substance completely burns in oxygen under standard conditions, and these values are always negative, indicating heat release. Hess's law is a cornerstone of thermochemistry. It states that the total enthalpy change for a chemical reaction is independent of the pathway taken, as long as the initial and final states are the same. This is because enthalpy is a state function. This powerful law allows us to calculate reaction enthalpies for processes that are difficult to measure directly. We can use it by summing up known enthalpy changes of individual steps or by using tabulated standard enthalpies of formation for reactants and products. If you reverse a reaction, you reverse the sign of delta H, if you multiply a reaction by a factor, you multiply delta H by that same factor. Alright, it's time to consolidate your understanding of these medium-level concepts. Here are 5 practice questions that will challenge you to apply the relationships between delta H and delta U, use Hess's law with standard enthalpies, and interpret standard states. Remember to pay close attention to the details and units. Pause the video now to work through these problems, and feel free to review the previous slides if needed. Now, let's elevate our understanding. The hard-level content introduces more sophisticated methods for calculating and analyzing enthalpy changes. We can estimate reaction enthalpies using bond energies. Imagine breaking all the bonds in the reactants, which requires energy, and then forming all new bonds in the products, which releases energy. The net difference gives an approximate delta H. This method is most accurate for gas phase reactions, as bond energies are average values. Moving on, Kirchhoff's equation describes how enthalpy change varies with temperature. It states that the rate of change of delta H with temperature at constant pressure is equal to the change in heat capacity, delta C_P, for the reaction. If delta C_P is constant, we can use a simpler integrated form to calculate delta H at a new temperature, making it a powerful tool for predicting reaction behavior under different thermal conditions. The Born-Haber cycle is a clever application of Hess's law, specifically designed to calculate the lattice enthalpy of ionic compounds, a value that's notoriously difficult to measure directly. It breaks down the formation of an ionic solid from its elements into a series of well-defined steps: atomization of the metal, its ionization, atomization of the nonmetal, its electron affinity, and finally, the formation of the solid from gaseous ions. By summing the known enthalpy changes for each of these steps, we can indirectly determine the lattice enthalpy. This cycle not only provides a numerical value but also gives us a deep insight into the energy contributions that stabilize ionic structures. Let's explore other important enthalpy changes. The enthalpy of solution is the heat change when a substance dissolves in a solvent, a process involving breaking solute-solute and solvent-solvent interactions and forming new solute-solvent interactions. For ionic compounds, this involves lattice enthalpy and hydration enthalpy. Hydration enthalpy is the heat released when gaseous ions are surrounded by water molecules, always an exothermic process. Enthalpy of neutralization is the heat released when an acid and base react to form 1 mole of water. For strong acids and bases, it's remarkably constant. Finally, enthalpies of phase transitions, like fusion, vaporization, and sublimation, describe the energy required to change a substance's physical state, and these are always endothermic. Time to put your advanced knowledge to the test. These 7 hard-level practice questions will challenge your ability to apply bond energies, Kirchhoff's equation, the Born-Haber cycle, and your understanding of various enthalpy types. Remember, precision and careful application of principles are key. Take your time, solve each problem methodically, and don't hesitate to review the concepts if you find yourself stuck. Good luck with these challenging problems. Welcome to the hardest level. Here, we'll push the boundaries of your understanding, delving into competitive depth, engineering insights, and the intricate connections of enthalpy change with other thermodynamic principles. Accurate experimental determination of enthalpy changes is crucial. Bomb calorimeters, operating at constant volume, are ideal for combustion reactions, directly yielding internal energy change, delta U. We then use delta H is equal to delta U plus delta N_G RT to find delta H. Solution calorimeters, like simple coffee cup calorimeters, work at constant pressure and measure delta H directly for reactions like dissolution. However, both methods face challenges: heat loss to surroundings, ensuring complete reactions, and precise temperature measurement. Calibration of the calorimeter's heat capacity is vital for obtaining reliable results. These experimental techniques form the bedrock of thermochemical data. While exothermic reactions often drive spontaneity, enthalpy is not the sole factor. The ultimate determinant is Gibbs free energy, delta G, given by delta G is equal to delta H T delta S. A negative delta G signifies a spontaneous process at constant temperature and pressure. Here, delta H represents the energy factor, while T delta S accounts for the entropy or disorder factor. A reaction can be enthalpy-driven if delta H is largely negative, or entropy-driven if delta S is largely positive, especially at higher temperatures. Understanding this interplay is critical for predicting whether a reaction will occur and under what conditions, such as determining melting and boiling points where delta G equals 0. Enthalpy's dependence on pressure and temperature offers deeper insights. For ideal gases, enthalpy is remarkably independent of pressure. However, for real gases and condensed phases, enthalpy does vary with pressure, described by a complex thermodynamic relation. This pressure dependence becomes evident in the Joule-Thomson effect, where a real gas cools or heats upon isenthalpic expansion, a principle vital for gas liquefaction. Furthermore, while Kirchhoff's equation provides a foundational understanding of temperature dependence, more accurate calculations in competitive scenarios often require considering temperature-dependent heat capacities, which can be expressed as polynomial functions, demanding integral calculus for precise delta H determination over wider temperature ranges. Thermochemical cycles are powerful tools, extending Hess's law to analyze complex industrial processes. By meticulously tracking enthalpy changes across multiple steps, engineers can optimize energy efficiency, often employing strategies like heat recovery where waste heat from an exothermic reaction fuels an endothermic one. It's crucial to remember that catalysts, while accelerating reactions by lowering activation energy, do not alter the overall delta H, as enthalpy remains a state function. This fundamental understanding of enthalpy changes is not just academic, it underpins the design of new materials, from high-energy fuels to advanced thermal storage solutions, and is essential for evaluating the environmental impact and sustainability of chemical industries. This knowledge bridges fundamental chemistry with real-world engineering applications. All right, prepare for the ultimate challenge. Here are the first 5 out of 10 hardest level practice questions. These problems are designed to test your comprehensive understanding of enthalpy change, integrating concepts from calorimetry, Gibbs free energy, and advanced thermodynamic relations. Tackle them strategically, breaking down complex scenarios into manageable steps. Remember to consider all the nuances and apply the correct equations. Take your time, and good luck with these demanding questions that push the boundaries of your knowledge. And now, for the final 5 questions in our hardest level challenge. These problems will further test your analytical skills, requiring you to apply concepts like the Joule-Thomson effect, enthalpy of dilution, and the industrial applications of thermochemistry. Think critically, connect different theoretical frameworks, and justify your answers with sound reasoning. This set of questions is designed to prepare you for the most challenging aspects of GME. Keep pushing your limits and strive for precision in every calculation and explanation. You're almost there. And that brings us to the end of our journey through enthalpy change. We've covered everything from basic definitions to advanced applications, preparing you thoroughly for GME. If you found this session helpful, don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel for more exciting educational content. For even more practice, detailed solutions, and personalized learning experiences, visit synapse.omaps.in. Keep learning, keep exploring, and keep aiming for excellence. See you in the next video.